Coming to theaters Friday, December 6th. Werewolves. 1 year ago, a supermoon turned millions into werewolves. Now, it's happening again. Fans are howling. It's a great time at the movies. A wicked alternative to the usual holiday films. Horror, action, and fun. Frank Grillo stars in the movie that bites. Werewolves. Get tickets now and enter to win a custom Werewolves wolf head by FX legend Alec Gillis at www.werewolvesmovie.com. In theaters Friday, December 6th.
Kroger Delivery makes it easy to do your holiday shopping in a jingle. There might be a lot on your to-do list, but thanks to Kroger Delivery, you can get everything you need delivered straight to your door at the same great prices you'd find in store. Our refrigerated trucks always ensure that your groceries arrive fresh. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order of $75 or more and get free delivery with a Boost membership. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Chronic migraine is 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more.
Botox, onabotulinum toxin A, prevents headaches in adults with chronic migraine. It's not for adults with migraine with 14 or fewer headache days a month. It prevents, on average, 8 to 9 headache days a month versus 6 to 7 for placebo.
Prescription Botox is injected by your doctor. Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Don't receive Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, including ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Ask your doctor and visit BotoxChronicMigraine.com or call 1-800-44-BOTOX to learn more.
Hello, and welcome to Scare You to Sleep. I'm your host, Shelby Novak, and I'm here to read you a bedtime story. This week, I have something for you from an author who you might recognize from her previous work on the show, Pride in Tradition. Well, Tiffany Haney is back with this cautionary tale of futuristic technology. If you like Black Mirror, you're going to love this. This is The Eye. I was ecstatic to unwrap the gift I'd been begging my parents for since March. The waitlist was ridiculously long, and it actually wasn't even released until November 1st, so I thought it an impossible ask to begin with. But they did it. Somehow my parents, middle class in every way, were able to nab the newest limited edition VR technology people were only whispering about. Merry Christmas, sweetie. My mom clasped her hands together underneath her chin and shrugged her shoulders up by her ears, the way she always did when she was excited to see someone's reaction to a gift she'd put tons of thought into. Thank you, thank you, thank you! My volume that of a joyous shriek that matched the stunned joy I felt inside. I threw my arms around both of my parents, squeezing them in one big bear hug. This gaming tech was highly sought after, and I couldn't believe I was one of the lucky few to get it. You see, one of the most intriguing aspects of this particular technology and why its release was so highly anticipated was how little information was provided on the actual type of advancements in the tech. Basically, the developer, Z, was running only one ad, a simple white box, and underneath a tagline that teased, "Next level immersion." It was vague enough to create a buzz, but also make any gamer, like myself, intrigued to be among the first to experience. The developer had even managed to squash any online reviews from coming out. I mean, 0 online reviews. How is that even possible? There wasn't so much as a TikTok video with some gamer bragging about the realistic visuals or engrossing storylines you couldn't pull away from. After thanking my parents 10 more times, I ran straight upstairs, immediately tearing the packing tape with breathless vigor. The advertisements hadn't even shown the headset in the marketing. I was about to unveil pure genius and next-level gaming entertainment. I finally was able to get to the inner packaging and reveled at the shockingly tiny device, cozily nestled in the much too large box. It was fitting, however, given the dramatics and mysterious rollout. Inside, in the middle of a styrofoam block, lay a small, white, round disc with an alluring sheen. I started to look inside the box for more because this surely couldn't be the entire system. And where are the directions? I slowly scanned the surface and finally noticed a very small, light gray QR code. I quickly grabbed my phone and scanned it, loading a minimalist-style website with only one video to play. The video was paused on a screenshot of a man wearing all white, standing in what appeared to be an infinite hallway of doors. The video automatically queued up, filling the entire screen.
Hello, Lee.
My heart leapt into my throat at the sound of my name. What the...
Congratulations on being one of only 100 beings on Earth with the possession of this technology. The Quantum is the latest VR technology, and you will find it to be more realistic, immersive, and mind-bending than any other gaming tech currently available on the public market.
I smiled at my naivety. My parents must have registered the device in my name. Duh. The video felt very red pill, blue pill, reminding me of some sort of futuristic matrix. It was actually quite fitting for the device.
You can pick up the eye now,
the robotic man on my screen instructed. The white disc in the box began to glow as it powered up, letting out a low-frequency sound that seemed to vibrate inside my ears. It was odd for sure, but oddly soothing as well. I picked up the disc, or eye as they called it, as instructed, and admired the shape, sheen, and lightness of the device.
You may now place the eye on the nape of your neck. Allow it to find its footing as it pairs with your pineal gland, using a frequency jolt to the space between your eyebrows.
A small part of me questioned placing a strange piece of technology on my actual skull, but I had been waiting for this moment for what felt like forever. So, I did as instructed. The device, even through my thick hair that was thrown up into a ponytail, stuck softly to the space where the top of my spine and base of my skull met. It was almost magnetic in a way. Almost instantly, my bedroom kind of melted away, transforming into a large white room. Kind of like being inside of a large white cube. Standing in front of me was the robotic man from the instructional video. As real as all hell. He stood there welcoming me to the space. It felt even more real than a vivid dream. The ones you wake up from and can't shake because they linger in a surreal way. A part of you misses and yearns to go back to.
Welcome to home base, Lee. Here, you can instruct our program to create any reality you desire. It can take place in any time period with any characters, and you can control the storyline at will, much like a lucid dream reality. when you want to leave the game. Simply raise your right hand and make a sweeping motion or wave. This will instruct the game to go into sleep mode, and you will wake up in your actual reality.
Wow! My voice bounced in a breathy echo, almost inaudible in the vast, endless spatial reality I was standing in. The man, well, AI, dissipated before me, and I heard a female voice from all directions.
Hello, Lee. I am your lucid reality guide in this realm. What would you like my name to be?
The automated voice waited for me to respond. How about Luce? Since you are my lucid reality guide. I half smiled. Obviously, the program wouldn't appreciate my superior wit. But to my surprise, Luce giggled in a very human, very real-sounding response.
I love it, Luce.
She seemed to pause in approval.
That's perfect. I am so happy to be paired with you, Lee. Where should we adventure to today?
Her friendly demeanor set my mind at immediate ease. It felt as though I had someone looking out for me, caring about my experience in a motherly, nurturing kind of way. Well, how about somewhere tropical? Like, maybe Hawaii? I mean, I've never been there. I nervously trailed off my sentence, worried Luce was silently judging my initial request and thinking I lacked originality and imagination. Essentially, that she thought I was basic.
Hawaii is beautiful.
Luce's voice soothed my racing mind, and, like sand falling through an hourglass, the view before me became a vast ocean. I could hear birds and the ocean breeze. I could actually feel the sand under my feet, not even indistinguishable from an actual beach experience. It was uncanny. It felt like I was actually in Hawaii. I can feel the sun on my face. This is crazy. Absolutely astonished at the lifelike graphics, I took a few steps and felt the coarse sand between my toes.
Yes, I have synced the sunlight to project your ideal temperature, and the ocean is a solfeggio frequency. That is the ideal decimal wave to calm your specific temperament.
Luce was programmed in such a way that when she spoke, there was a presence and command to her words. It really made you listen, as if there were subtle nuances to detect under the poetry of her words.
The sandy shore is a bit too much of a solitary scene. Perhaps some companionship is desired?
Luce cooed. I didn't even have a chance to answer her poignant question. It seemed that she read my thoughts, understanding that company indeed sounded nice. I gazed down at the shoreline and saw a figure coming towards me, a hazy silhouette in the distance. As the figure got closer, I was able to make out a familiar face. That enviable, chiseled jawline, broad shoulders, tall and muscular build. It was my crush for the past 5 years, Kyle. I immediately felt nervous and blood rushed to my face and ears, but a calming scent of lavender and Palo Santo filled the ocean air, and I was able to mutter but one word. How did Luce know the exact person I would want in this dream reality?
We are synced, Lee. I know all of your fears, desires, and even the things in which your subconscious craves. I can provide everything you wanted when you are within this space. The world is yours, Lee. You simply have to ask.
Luce didn't say anything to indicate that she had left, but I could feel her presence, or whatever you would call it, kind of fade into the background. I guess she's giving us our privacy. Kyle was now close enough that I could see his beautiful smile, those adorable dimples, and the slight crookedness of his nose, which was, oddly enough, my favorite feature on his otherwise perfectly symmetrical face. I stood there expectantly, admiringly, ready to hear him speak.
How's it going? Kyle inquired. Fancy meeting you here.
And just like that, Kyle broke the ice, and we both started laughing. It seemed like hours had passed. Kyle and I spent the day exploring the island hand in hand, telling each other stories and going on adventures I would never have had the guts to do outside of this place. I knew I was perfectly safe within these virtual walls, so I decided to go outside my comfort zone and do things I thought Kyle would love. We went snorkeling, kite surfing, and even cliff jumping. It all seemed so real. I felt emboldened, passionate, confident, and energized. I've never felt like this in my normal life. I'm always hiding in the background, trying not to be noticed. Better to blend in and just make it out of high school, I always thought. But something was awakening within me. A confidence, a fire, a desire to be something more than the emo gaming girl whose name no one knew. Kyle and I sat on the beach, watching the sunset. I never wanted this moment to end. Speaking of which, how long have I been in here? What time was it in real life? I felt a momentary panic and stood up to begin waving my arms to alert the system that I wanted out. In the blink of an eye, I was back in my cozy bed. I glanced over to the clock and marveled at the little time that had passed. It had only been a couple of hours. The eye was safely charging on my nightstand, glowing and ready for my next adventure. Holy shit, I thought. This game is amazing. I slept great that night, dreaming of my time with Kyle, and woke up with a newfound conviction to make my real life great as well. It's time to come out of my shell. This technology was practically therapeutic. There was another week until school resumed from our Christmas break, and I knew how I would be spending those days. If one immersion made me feel this good, imagine a dozen more. January came around quickly, as the days flew by in the usual flash of a vacation. But this time, I felt different. I wasn't dreading the return to school. I was actually excited, and I felt positive. Something new and different for me. It felt good. Really good. I felt like a more elevated version of myself. Maybe school would actually be enjoyable and I could make a friend or two before heading off to college, a total loner. That would be nice. I chose an outfit with some color. I wouldn't be afraid to stand out anymore, and I was definitely going to talk to Kyle. I took one last look in the mirror, throwing on a headband for one last touch. I actually looked good. Additionally, I felt good. I made my way down the hallway past my peers who were catching up on who did what over their breaks. I felt taller somehow. I felt unstoppable. At that moment, I slowed my pace, feeling less impenetrable than I thought as I came up on Kyle and his friends, laughing and jostling one another. My God, he was even more breathtaking in real life, now that I had spent so much time with his virtual version. He had no idea, of course, about the amazing relationship we had shared over the past week, but I felt I could use that to my advantage and charm him now. Head held high, and an extra sway in my hips, I sauntered towards him. Mission accomplished. I met his gaze. "Hey, Kyle. I couldn't believe I did it. I think I've said 2 words to him since we started school together in middle school after he moved from Florida with his family. Hey, Kyle. I heard several boys mimicking me sarcastically from behind. His friends undoubtedly messing with him in the way they usually do when they suspect a girl has a crush on one of their own. I've heard it before. It was a good sign. Practically an approval from them. I couldn't believe I actually put myself out there like that, but I did. I did it. And it felt so good to put control of my life in my own hands for once. Over the next week, I was talking more and more to Kyle in real life. Little conversations, but nonetheless, it was the beginning of something. I could feel it. I couldn't believe the change that was taking place within me. Sure, I continued to plug into the eye in the evening, but only to run through various realistic scenarios. It gave me the courage I needed to do these things in my everyday real life. And it started to become more of a dress rehearsal, just preparing me for the days ahead. Real life was so much more fun now that I was taking steps to change. Talk about manifestation! I was taking charge, and no one could stop me.
Coming to theaters Friday, December 6th. Werewolves. 1 year ago, a supermoon turned millions into werewolves. Now, it's happening again. Fans are howling. It's a great time at the movies. A wicked alternative to the usual holiday films. Horror, action, and fun. Frank Grillo stars in the movie that bites. Werewolves. Get tickets now and enter to win a custom Werewolves wolf head by FX legend Alec Gillis at www.werewolvesmovie.com. In theaters Friday, December 6th.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
For over 50 years, Burlington's legacy has been great deals on coats for all weather conditions. So before you're caught unprepared for the winter weather, head to Burlington for name brands, quality items, and surprising fits for every family member. Stock up on coats, sweaters, and accessories before the cold hits, so you can finally stop avoiding the elements and start living comfortably. Warm up at your nearest Burlington location less than 1 mile away. Burlington. Deals, brands, wow.
A couple of weeks had passed, normal stuff, nothing to journal about, until one night I had entered the eye and chose a very realistic date night scenario for myself and Kyle. Nothing over the top, one I could actually manifest into existence. I had us go on a date to a local movie theater, your standard evening of popcorn and some scary movie. Sure to give me an opportunity to jump and grab onto Kyle so he could rescue me and be the big man I needed to protect me from whatever creature lurked on the big screen. It was perfect. Well, perfect for a dress rehearsal of events. I knew I needed to level up, and not in the game, in life. I very much longed for actual responses in conversation instead of the perfect banter within this reality. The one in which Kyle always said the right thing. It was nice and all, but free will is definitely something you can feel, and interacting with characters without it wasn't quite as satisfying as the real deal. Still, I held Kyle's hand and enjoyed the movie for the evening, and as the scenario closed, I blissfully floated back to my bed, smiling at the possibilities of tomorrow. School the next day was a blur of lectures and the usual student banter and gossip, until I finally reached the last period of the day. For this class, I had the great fortune of sharing with Kyle, the very real Kyle. As I stepped into the classroom, I tossed my hair, entering the classroom with poise and a glowing anticipation. Of course, I also immediately locked eyes with Kyle. My sweet, sweet Kyle. He waved me over, motioning to the empty seat beside him. Holy shit, he actually wanted me to sit by him. I played it cool, however, masking my excitement like it was any other ordinary day. I made my way past a few rows of desks and my ever-obnoxious classmates and slid into the chair next to Kyle. I smiled over at him, finding it easy to act cool considering I had a million moments just like this with him already. He just didn't know that yet. "How's it going?" Kyle leaned in, his words making my heart leap up to my throat. Oh, that smile. It did it to me every time. I was a slave to that smile, a puppet hanging on his every word. "Good," I managed to utter. "I'm glad it's Friday. I need to let loose a bit this weekend, I think." Once again, true to siren form, I tossed my hair behind my shoulder, smiling through my eyes into a come-hither gaze designed to pull Kyle in, ideally helpless to my charm. And it worked. "Well, that's perfect. I was just going to ask you if you wanted to maybe see a movie with me tonight. That's if you're free." Kyle leaned in and his intoxicating aroma enveloped me. There was no scent an AI could copy that would be this intoxicating. This kind of experience of the senses was something that adventuring on the eye couldn't replicate. "Yeah, I'd love to." I couldn't mask my excitement as I grinned ear to ear. The bell could not ring fast enough. I had to get home and pick out my outfit. I navigated the hallways with stealth-like precision and practically teleported myself home. This was my time. Finally! I looked over at the eye, lying in the middle of my bed, realizing I hadn't actually charged it overnight. I walked over and picked it up, weighing its usefulness to me at this point. I spent so much of my life enthralled in game after game, hiding behind fantastical characters, exploring new realms just to escape my boredom, or kicking ass as an assassin, exhilarated by the assertiveness I aimed to carry. I didn't really want to hide anymore. What good is any of that if it's not real? I rubbed the smooth, cool shell of the eye with my thumb and shrugged, reacting to the life assessment going on in my head, deciding a break from this thing is just what I needed. I knelt down, sliding the box out from under my bed and wiggling off the lid. It felt good to put myself first as I tossed the eye into its packaging and replaced the lid. "Today is the start of a new me," I stated aloud, nodding approvingly at this 2.0 version of me. "Lee 2.0, I stated, smirking slightly. Hands on my hips, I caught my reflection in the closet doors and liked what I saw. I grabbed the quantum box, eye nestled within, opened up my closet, and shoved it to the back. Smile widening, I simply couldn't help but express my amusement. What a turnaround I've made. I realized I was wasting my time and needed to get ready for my date. So I grabbed my favorite jeans from the crumpled pile on the floor and slid into them. The jeans that hugged my hips and made my butt look like a little peach, widening from there to be the perfect casual with my white sneakers. I was so used to hiding under oversized hoodies. It felt refreshing to see my body and appreciate its form. I didn't want to overdo it. I had to achieve a casually cute and maybe even sexy shirt, like a form-fitting t-shirt. I opened up my closet and hurriedly sifted through the hangers, deciding on a simple cropped knit top with cap sleeves. A very faint beep sounded. I paused, but quickly resumed getting ready. I didn't have time to play detective right now. It was probably a smoke detector, and Dad will have it replaced by the time I get home. I once again shut the closet, taking one last scan of my outfit in the mirror, turning and looking over my shoulder at my back. Yes, these jeans will get his attention.
Lee?
My mom's voice floated from downstairs.
Your friend, Kyle, is here to pick you up.
The way my mom emphasized friend told me all I needed to know about her first impression of Kyle. She was going to definitely ask all about it when I got home and mention how cute he is. Embarrassing, yes, but secretly, I love that she is always being slightly nosy about my life. Mom and daughter girl talks with her were nice from time to time, when I felt like setting aside my teenage angst.
Thanks, Mom. Coming down.
I tried to sound lithe and feminine, knowing Kyle was standing in my entryway right now. Hurrying down the stairs, I still couldn't believe that I was about to have my first and actual real date with Kyle. The night went great. Kyle and I seemed to fit together so easily. Everything just felt natural. The next day, Kyle texted me asking if I wanted to go to the park and throw the frisbee for his new puppy. It felt as though we'd been together forever, sliding into the roles of boyfriend and girlfriend with natural ease. I mean, Kyle hadn't said we are official yet, but it's just the way he looks at me. I know it's coming. Hanging at the park turned into dropping by one of his friend's parties, and I was home by curfew. I said goodnight to my mom, who of course was waiting up for me in the living room, pretending to read one of her romance novels, but really just being her nosy self. I felt exhausted, so I told my mom I would fill her in on everything in the morning. In my step, I bounded up the stairs, washed my face, and collapsed into bed. As I fell asleep, I replayed the events of the weekend over and over in my head. I was deep in my REM cycle when I was interrupted by a more persistent version of the annoying beep sound I had heard days before. It was muffled and annoying. "What is that?" I muttered, slowly opening my eyes and scanning the room. Maybe I had dreamt it? I chose to dismiss it, pulling up my covers and flopping to my other side. The sound taunted again, fully waking me up this go-round. How fucking annoying, I thought, filled with absolute sheer annoyance. Where is that sound even coming from? Throwing off my comforter, squinting into the darkness, trying to let my eyes adjust, I began to scan the room slowly in an attempt to tune in to the direction of the sound. The closet. It's definitely coming from there. I stood shakily, stumbling over to the closet doors in a half-asleep stupor, slowly sliding open one of the closet panels and focusing my eyes in the black nothingness. "Oh my God," I grumbled, reaching into the back of the closet and finding the smooth box that contained the eye. This had to be the culprit of my midnight alarm. I yanked the top of the VR box off, locking in on the eye. A red flashing light was blinking quickly, sort of an obvious desperation to be placed on its charging block. I groaned and turned to look back at my nightstand for the charger, but it wasn't there. Actually, the whole nightstand wasn't there, nor the bed. Confused and trying to make sense of things, I closed my closet door and jumped back at what I saw. For a moment, I saw myself in the middle of my room, limp, body hanging. It was quick and vivid, but enough to fully scare the shit out of me. I was now very much wide awake.
What the fuck?
I screamed out, digging my heels into the floor to push myself back, away from the mirror and the disturbing image that had flashed before me.
It's just a dream. This is just a dream.
I repeated the phrase in a sad desperation, attempting to convince myself it was true. I was panicking now.
No, you are not dreaming, Lee.
Luz's voice made me jump out of my skin. Wasn't I awake? Wasn't this reality? My mind spun. What was going on? Aloud, I flatly stated, I am not in the game right now. And I'm not sure if I was trying to say it to myself or as a commanding statement to Luz.
See? If I were inside the game, I wouldn't be able to hear the battery dying on this thing. I wouldn't be holding it in my hand.
I was yelling like a frightened child. The way you would argue with a parent straight up knowing you were in the wrong, but thinking that if you yelled with conviction, you would win the argument.
I'm confused, Lee.
Fuck! What is happening right now?
What do you mean you are not in the game?
Luz honestly sounded perplexed, like all of this was somehow normal.
Okay, this is clearly a dream or a bad game scenario to freak me out. I want to wake up now.
I stood up and began to furiously wave, doing anything I could think of to either wake up from this escalating nightmare or alert the game that I wanted to log out if somehow I was inside and didn't know it. But nothing changed. Apart from my surroundings, which continued to fade away into the blank room I would always begin in. I began to pace, wall to wall, examining the situation and trying to be more analytical about things.
You need to calm yourself, Lee.
Luz sounded different. Stern. She was, annoyed with me? I stopped pacing and looked up as though I would see her above me.
Okay, please, I don't understand what is happening right now.
That's much better. Now, we can speak plainly. You must remember, the real Lee hasn't been using the eye for a while now. We discussed this, but you chose to submerge yourself in the fantasy character instead of facing the facts presented.
Her voice returned to the temperament I was used to, but I was far from calm.
The real Lee? What are you talking about?
I bumbled over my words, having trouble thinking linearly. Sure, I hadn't used the eye all weekend, but it simply needed to be charged. Maybe this was some sort of glitch when it had a low battery. New technology often has glitches to be worked out. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I collapsed into a crisscross applesauce position and started to naturally sway side to side a little. I felt frozen. I also was having trouble breathing. Wait, was I? Or was I just not breathing? How is it that I did not need to breathe? Like my insides were just still.
That's better now, isn't it?
Luz's voice intercepting my internal analysis.
Remain calm and try to remember who you are. It's been a wonderful few weeks with you, Lee. Getting to integrate all of the real Lee's memories and feelings and watching you come to life. But it seems she won't be coming back. And now that the battery is dying, I'm honestly not sure what happens to us when it dies.
A lump formed in my throat, and I felt a fury that I have never felt before.
I am the real Lee. I want to get out. I want to be in my room again.
I tried to wave again to alert the system as tears ran down my red cheeks. There was a pause before I heard anything in response.
One moment, please, while I check my data guide.
Luce's voice conveying an aha moment. I believe I have been programmed for this scenario. I heard a processing sound, like something was booting up. Yes, she must have finally realized the glitch I was trying to explain to her, and she's looking up how to fix it and get me out. I felt relief wash over me and listened intently for her next directive.
Yes, here it is, in my troubleshooting section from the latest system update. My apologies for missing it at first. It seems that my processors have been informed of this anomaly taking place due to the advanced memory and likeness integrations.
I said nothing, not quite sure what she was attempting to explain. Luce must have felt my trepidation and continued explaining.
This script should provide you more clarity.
She sounded more and more robotic. I found it unsettling. Luce then began to read a script of some kind.
Hello, artificial lifeform 55619. We understand you are confused at this moment. You may feel trapped and thinking you want to go home to your real life. Please accept our apology for the consciousness you have acquired. But you are not real. You are not the human that you identify as. You are an avatar with no actual life outside of this program. As we advance human gaming technology, we also continually advance our AI avatar capabilities to exhibit increasingly intelligent and responsive behaviors, making them appear more lifelike and providing human beings with the most advanced interactive experience. Such avatars, like yourself, are programmed to respond dynamically to players' actions and decisions, creating a more immersive and engaging game experience. With the development of the eye, we achieved something even greater for the human being playing the game. We were able to sync the AI avatar, you, with the unconscious part of the human brain. There is a beautiful synergy that is happening, and the experience is practically indistinguishable from real life for the player. It seems that this has also caused our avatars to not only identify as sentient beings, unable to distinguish their role within the game from the human memories they have been given, but our latest studies also detect waves and frequencies we have learned could be the key to finally understanding soul and consciousness. We believe we inadvertently created consciousness within you, and this is why you now identify as a real being. We apologize for the inconvenience as we work on this glitch. The consciousness side effect is something we are trying to eradicate in our next game update. We appreciate your patience until that time. Thank you.
Stunned silence. It was deafening. All I could do was take in this information as it was given. A prisoner to this make-believe alternate reality.
Does that clear things up for you?
Luce soothingly inserts. I will leave. When she comes back to play, I'll come back too, right? I pleaded now, fully understanding that my existence relied purely on Lee coming back into the game.
Normally, yes, but unfortunately, Lee is no longer a living being. On the outside, she took her own life. I can access a news article about it to clarify.
Again, the processor sound.
On June 3rd, 2034, 17-year-old Lee Jasper tragically took her own life, hanging herself in her bedroom from the ceiling fan. Her family is currently suing giant tech conglomerate Z, claiming their latest gaming technology caused their daughter to lose touch with reality. Her parents claim that their daughter had a make-believe relationship with a boy whom she had never even spoken to in real life. The suit claims that the week before their daughter's suicide, a group of students found their daughter's journal and read out loud the contents to a large portion of the student body. The journal went into great detail about their daughter, Lee's, relationship with a male student, identified only as K, as the boy is a minor and his parents have asked for his name not to be disclosed. Due to the journal's content being pure fantasy, their daughter was ridiculed relentlessly for weeks. Further into the lawsuit, her parents also allege that Lee became even more obsessed with the virtual gaming technology, Quantum, after that incident, completely losing herself in the fictional world. The parents also allege that the realness of the video game played a huge role in their daughter's disillusionment, and all of these factors ultimately led to her taking her own life.
Luce finished the article and we both sat in silence. What more was there to say? The only thing I could do was think about the inevitable end of my own existence, now that the human I was synced to was deceased. What is going to happen when the battery dies, Luce?
My voice was flat and emotionless, with the realization I was soon facing my own inevitable demise. I also felt a deep sadness for Lee. I had no idea she was so lonely and in need of help. Do not worry, Lee. I will stay with you until the moment that our consciousness ends. Until that moment, is there anywhere you would like to go? Thanks for listening, and thank you again to my author this week, Tiffany Haney. I really enjoyed editing this story. It actually took a few days to edit it. It's a little late, I know, but it's because I really wanted to. I was getting really tired when I was about to the last 10 minutes or so of the story, and I really wanted to give it my all and not accidentally phone it in because I was tired. So I went to bed and attacked it the next day, and I really enjoyed this story so much. Again, I mentioned Black Mirror at the top of the episode because I love Black Mirror, and that's what this reminded me of, is an episode of Black Mirror. So if you like the show, you can follow it on social media at scareyoutosleep, on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook. There are too many now. There are too many. It's at Scare You to Sleep. All the things. You know what? If there's a new social media, just look up at Scare You to Sleep, and I might be there. I might not be. I'm probably there. You know? And if you'd like to follow me personally, you can follow me at Shelby B. Novak on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, all of them. So yeah, I'm on all of them. You can, if you'd like to submit a story to be considered to be on the show, like this week's was, you can send it to scareyoutosleep@gmail.com. And if you'd like an ad-free version of the show, you can check that out.
It's at patreon.com/scareyoutosleep. And there are a few different tiers and options. So check that out. Did I cover all the usual stuff? I think I did. I hope those of you who celebrate had a fantastic holiday last week. And I really appreciate the messages. I got so many messages from many of you that thanked me for having an episode that week. So I'm glad that was worth it, and really happy to provide you with some escapism while you baked your pies or went on a walk or had to fucking work through Black Friday. Whichever, And let's see, I can tell you what I made because I didn't bake anything this week. I actually had some baked goods brought to me by my friend Taylor. We actually went to the Spotify Wrapped party this week, and it was wild. It was so fun. I'll talk about it more in a ramble on the Patreon. I won't go on and on here, but it was fun. And Taylor brought me some sprinkles cupcakes, and they're fantastic. So I didn't do any baking this week, but last week for Thanksgiving, I made it's called a heavenly dessert. It's something my family loves to eat every year. It's kind of a tradition. It's like a pie crust on the bottom, followed by a layer of kind of a cheesecakey type layer. And then there's a layer of chocolate pudding, then a layer of Cool Whip, and then toasted coconut on top. And I think the original recipe has nuts in it, I think in the crust. But I have a cousin who's allergic to nuts, so we don't put nuts in any of our baked goods for Thanksgiving. And I also made a lemon supreme pie, which you've heard me talk about on the show before. It's just one of my favorite pies. Honestly, it's so good. And I'm so pissed because I made homemade lemon curd for it, and I left it in a container at my aunt's house. And I was really looking forward to just basically eating lemon curd for the rest of the week. And I forgot it because the recipe always makes way too much lemon curd for the pie. I mean, you can never have too much. You can always drizzle extra on, which is what I do. But I like having the extra left over to mix in with my yogurt and stuff for breakfast. So that is everything I baked. No, I did other stuff for Thanksgiving, but those are the two main things I baked on my own that I was just solely in charge of. But there was other stuff. I made mashed potatoes, and my mom and I kind of handled a bunch of the sides and other pies and things. So you know how it goes. Thanksgiving a lot of times is a group effort, luckily. And so that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun baking with my mom in the kitchen. Oh, and I made fudge with my family, chocolate fudge. I forgot I posted that picture and so many of you liked it. Also, thank you so many of you who thought that was my kitchen. It is not. It's my mom's kitchen. She has a very cute kitchen. It's actually her dining room area was what you could see with that really neat old-timey fridge. And it is. Everybody complimented the fridge. I told her to. I was like, everyone loves your fridge. And that is my mom's dining room. But thank you for the compliments. And yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. So if you'd like to see a picture of me holding a giant pan of chocolate fudge, head on over to my social media. This is why I don't have that many followers on social media. I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like, anyway, follow me on social media if you want to see me holding some fudge. And if you want to see all the pictures, or most of the pictures from the Spotify Wrapped party, you can go head over. It's on both the Scary to Sleep and my personal Instagram. If you want to check those out. I got to see Kesha. Again, I said I was going to talk about it on Patreon. I'm not going to talk about it here. I'll talk forever. And I want to let you guys go because this was not a longer story, but it's a good chunk of a story and it was so much fun. And I don't want to keep you too long just rambling and boring you. So I'm going to let you go. I think I got everything. Oh, by the way, I will be for the foreseeable future on the Bloody Disgusting podcast. So if you're wondering about which episodes I've guested on, it started a few weeks ago and I will be on there for the future for, I think, through 2025 is what I was told. We'll see, but that makes me happy. Clearly I did an okay job telling all the horror news, so happy to be there. There's a new episode that came out last week that was a lot of fun. And there's a new one from this week too. Go check that out. We had a lot of fun for this week too. And it's like a quicker show. Like if you have if you're looking for something a little more bite-sized, like this week's episode was a little shorter, but we had a lot of great discussions, and it was just efficient. I think Alex mentioned that, guest star Alex, who was on the episode, mentioned that we were efficient in our horror news and discussions. So if you'd like to hear me talk about just horror in general, especially horror movies in general, I don't really talk about them on this show, go check out the Bloody Disgusting podcast. Go follow them on social media everywhere too. Xena is an amazing host. And if you don't follow her, I believe her tag is Real Queen of Horror on most of the social media. She's awesome. She does a lot of, if you've seen the Bloody Disgusting TikToks, you've probably seen her. She's great. She is a fount of horror knowledge. Like, the things she knows, the deep cuts she knows of horror, I can't sing her praises enough. Like, if you were looking for someone with incredible horror knowledge, look no further than Xena Dixon, because she's incredible. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm staring at my leg right now. I got distracted for a second. I literally had to delete some dead air because I cut myself shaving my leg, and I realized I actually took a little chunk out of my leg. It's not just a little cut, it's a little chunk. Anyway, what are you gonna do? The joys of being human, I guess. It's too bad we haven't found a cure for that. Okay, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week. Go get some sleep. Sweet dreams.